I have a theory on why Trent Williams is upset with the organization, or at least where it started. Why don't you fill us in?
Yeah, so last night, JP Finley of NBC Sports Washington and I were doing the show together, and it was just so everybody has a proper setup. It was a totally legitimate show, right? We did, like all sorts of Redskins topics for the first, couple hours. We had a lot of calls, a lot of reaction, and I would say it was mostly positive. And then we started talking about the looming issue, which everybody is focused on Trent, and forgetting kind of about the Brandon Sheriff deal, right? And Brandon Sheriff going into the final year of his contract, fifth-year option, makes a lot of money, and supposedly he got an embarrassingly low offer on his first offer from the Redskins. So then we started talking about, with Trent, like, why is he holding out? Why is he not doing this? And we all have our theories, money, injury, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, I believe, this is my belief, this is not a belief, that Trent started feeling some resentment towards the Redskins organization when they surprisingly took an offensive tackle out of Louisville, Jaron Christian, last year, meaning in the 2018 NFL draft in the third round, way before anybody thought they were going to. And then you combine that with the writing on the wall when it comes to the cap figure, meaning next year they can get out of it for less than $2 million, and he's not a dummy. He sees the writing on the wall. He sees them drafting their replacement or his potential replacement, and he sees how easy they can get out of his contract after this upcoming season. And to me, I think that started to linger in Trent's mind. How could it not? It would linger in mine. I'm just being honest. And you see the writing on the wall, and I think that's where it started. I'm not saying he was hostile about it. I'm not saying he was angry about it. But it starts there, and then all of these other issues start to build up, and things that weren't bothering you all of a sudden start to bother you.
Rooster, do you think he's really that thin-skinned? Where he knows this is a business that he's replaceable at some point. But I mean, teams have to have contingency plans for either injury or if somebody holds out or if somebody underperforms. They always have to draft talent to have in the pipeline and to develop. Do you think he's really that upset that they picked him? Was it that he was picked in the third round and not a bit later?
No, I hear you, Cakes. I think that's part of it. And again, I don't know. Trent never said this. His agent has not said this. This is my working theory, okay?
Right.
And it was just, it wasn't like some hatchet job to say, oh, Trent, look at how thin-skinned Trent is. That's not what this is about. What I'm saying is in the third round, nobody expected the Redskins to take an offense. Think about this, fellas. They did not address the left guard position at all in any way, shape, or form in last year's draft, yet they took it. I understand they have to have somebody around for the future to kind of indoctrinate into the system to get their feet wet.
More important position.
Yes, but I would also say this. He was okay with Ty Anseki. He was fine with Ty Anseki being here, and he knew they had to have a backup swing tackle. But then when you have Ty Anseki still, and maybe he wasn't, maybe he didn't necessarily think about contract and age with Anseki because Anseki hadn't been here that long. But then he sees, whoa, wait a second, now you're taking this guy? And then on top of that, he figures out that the Redskins can get out of his contract after, again, this upcoming year for less than $2 million worth of dead money. Again, this is my working theory on where the seeds of resentment started, and that's how this whole thing started last night on the air with JP is, look, I don't think the Redskins, I think the Redskins have an absolute right to stock their franchise and to stock the cupboards because we've always criticized them for not having enough depth. What I would say is this. There are certain guys you cannot mess with. There are certain guys that are the fabric of whatever culture you're trying to build. Ryan Kerrigan is one of them on defense. Trent Williams, even though he's flawed, is one of them on offense. And to me, you've already screwed with the franchise quarterback situation, and you've already messed that up. You cannot afford to mess this situation up, at least in my opinion.
I don't know what's going through the guy's head, but he's got to understand he's missed almost an entire season in the last 3 years. He's missed 13 games in 2016, 17, and 18. All right, so he's got to understand you have to have a quality backup at that position, especially when you have a right-handed quarterback.
I understand that. But I guess he probably looked, Jason, at Tyanseki. Tyanseki's my backup. Maybe that's – and now Tyanseki's gone.
He's always hurt, too.
Right, and he's now gone. So, again,
Yeah.
I didn't have – when in hindsight, I didn't have a major problem with them drafting Jaron Christian. Now, I don't know if Jaron Christian can play. He couldn't last year, and so far it's taken him, I think, like 8 months to recover from some sort of MCL surgery, which is kind of weird, right? Everybody's kind of spooked about this because what's taking him so long? So we have no idea if this guy can play. Again, I would just say this is, to me, all part of a complicated puzzle. If people want to know what Trent's issue is, I think it's part money on his contract. I think it's part, hey, they can get rid of me pretty easily after this upcoming year. I think it's part misdiagnosis, mishandling, post-injury care, whatever it is from this issue on the top of his scalp. And I think that's also a part of it. And again, as I'm just telling you, as a competitive person, okay, in my situation at the radio station, I see CK bringing in somebody, putting somebody else on air at night. I mean, I get a little worried. I get a little anxious about it. I'm not going to lie. I get a little anxious about it. I do.
Even if it's Adam Epstein?
That's a good thing, JP.
Hey, you can always go back and work for the Redskins.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so. I burned those bridges for the last couple of years, huh? I mean, and by the way, nobody wants to work for the Redskins. Do you guys know that almost 40 employees behind the scenes have left I think since January, since they fired LaFamina and his crew? 40, almost 40.
That's a big number. I don't know how many
do they have?
work for the Redskins, but 40 sounds like a huge number.
I'm telling you, I've been told this by multiple people. Almost 40 people have left behind the scenes. Not necessarily. We're not talking about football players or coaches or anything like that. Almost 40 people behind. Nobody wants to work there. It's a terrible culture.
That's PR. That's sales.
Yeah.
That's
marketing, business.
By the way, if you're in sales, that's a tough job.
Yeah, no.
You gotta get season ticket holders?
I know someone that's in sales, and
listen, I think everybody thinks
difficult.
On my end that I just have it out for Bruce Allen. And look, I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't think he's a good leader. I don't think he's a good person. I don't think he treats people well. I think he treats people that he chooses for whatever reason. Like he treats D'Angelo Hall well. Okay, he should treat D'Angelo Hall well. That doesn't mean you don't treat 10 other people well, and treat them like human beings. And this isn't just about media access or what he says or what he does. This is how they treat people, the culture there. Nobody wants to work there. Nobody believes in the direction and the leadership of that franchise. And I will tell you this, there is, from everything that I hear, there's like this split between the coaching staff and Bruce, where the coaching staff kind of thinks it's all a joke. And they kind of are wondering, what the hell are you guys doing? I'm telling you that. They won't say that on the record.
Of course not.
People will dismiss that. I'm telling you, that's how they think.
Yeah.
If you had to bet, going back to the Trent Williams situation, will we see a season game for the Redskins? Will he be around?
I would say no preseason games. I would say very unlikely, in my opinion, to be in Richmond. Maybe when the team gets back here to Redskins Park, at some point in that sweet spot right around, give or take, August 20th somewhere, I think you could see him, but I would probably tend to think more likely even after the fourth preseason game. So now we're talking late August and before the, September 9th opener. I do think he will be here for week one. I do think he will be here for week one in Philadelphia.
What are you hearing about Colt McCoy? We don't hear much about Colt. Will he be ready come training camp, which is now just 2 weeks away, because we kept hearing it's Case Keenum or Haskins, but Colt's still part of the equation. Is he?
He's expected to be, and I know J.P. Finley put words in his mouth, but he said on the air he strongly believes that Jay absolutely wants to go with Colt McCoy. Now, I don't know that, but I'm going to trust J.P. Finley on that, and clearly Jay Gruden has had an affinity for Colt McCoy and has kept him around here for all 5 years. All 5 years of Jay's existence. But I would also counter that by saying, I don't know how anybody could have a strong belief that Colt McCoy, A, is ever going to stay healthy, which is the biggest problem, not his performance, and B, that they're going to go with Colt McCoy over Haskins and Case when bypassed Colt McCoy to be the starting quarterback not once but twice. A, choosing Kirk Cousins. B, then choosing to go out and trade for Alex Smith. So to me, I don't know. I don't see that, but I'm going to trust J.P. Finley and say, what he said last night on Overtime right here on the Fan, that he believes Jay Gruden wants to start Colt McCoy as the starting quarterback.
Rooster, a quick true or false. Kevin O'Connell will be the next head coach of the Washington Redskins. True or false?
That's a good one. I think true.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know when.
Yeah, I was going to say, when is that?
I don't even know if he would be the interim head coach if Jay were to get fired. I think that would go to somebody else, a Bill Callahan type. I think Kevin O'Connell is a guy that they have really, really big hopes and dreams and visions for of being, again, the next quote-unquote Sean McVay. And they're probably right, and I'll give them credit because they identified how important and how good that dude is, and he's good.
But a buddy of mine knows him pretty well, and he's trying to set up a gaff foursome.
Oh, he is good
with Kevin O'Connell. It would be me, my buddy, Grew Dog, and O'Connell.
Oh, look at that power force.
Well, I hope that happens.
That would be fun. And let me tell you something, boys. He likes the cameras. He likes the media. He could not wait to talk to us in a press conference a couple of weeks ago. He was chomping at the bit, man.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll happen. What about Geis? What are you hearing on Geis? Because he's just a big unknown at this point.
Yeah, the sense that I have, and again, this is not any recent information, but everything that Jay said, everything that I witnessed and observed, and people that you hear and talk to, is that he may, again, I don't want to sound the alarm bell, not be ready to go in terms of he'll open up on preseason PUP. Again, that's not a definite. And that is really a procedural type thing. It's just like, hey, look, we're going to ease him in and they could have an extra guy or whatever. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he'll play in the preseason. I would be surprised. Maybe he gets a little bit of run in that third preseason game. I think he'll be okay overall. I just don't know if he'll be out there full blast on July 25th.